Well, hello YouTube. What's going on? My name is Mike. I'm Cali Pipes, and I'm here to say hello. Well, it's been about a year and a half of me lurking, and I figured it's about time for me to contribute to this wonderful community. And I've been a little apprehensive at getting in front of the camera. Everybody's probably had that at some point, but I figured, screw it, it's time to do it. Let's get down and start sharing. I've been having kind of a very fun journey into the whole universe of pipe smoking, and it started at a very young age, although I didn't know it. But maybe my whole history of smoking and all that kind of good stuff will be fodder for another video. But right now, I just want to say a quick hello, say what's up. My name is Mike once again, and I just wanted to chat a little bit and introduce myself. So. I used to be a big cigarette smoker. I mean, God, I would smoke about a pack a day. And it started even as a little kid being mystified, watching my grandma, puff her cigarettes in the backyard and watching the smoke drift away. I always thought it was mysterious and intriguing. And even back in the day when it was still couth and not quite as stigmatized, well, smoking at least, they would have those packages of tobacco at the end of the checkout lines in the grocery stores, and I would always skip that, wait for my mom to pay for the shit, and just sit there and smell all the different pouches of tobacco, the apples, and all the great different flavors, and it was really fun. And if I ever smelled an old man or anybody smoking a pipe anywhere, I would follow that trail of scent, like in the cartoons, with the whole the smoke lingering and dragging me there, and I would just was drawn to it. So needless to say, after a long history of smoking and then finally cold turkey quitting, not smoking cigarettes for a couple of years, I still missed the essence of smoke and the whole process in my life. So I figured, well, I'm not going to get back into cigarettes because I was tired of the way they were making me feel, and it's just so easy to fall down that rabbit hole, and just smoked them all the time, and it smelled like shit all the time. I live here in beautiful, gorgeous Southern California with a bunch of beautiful, gorgeous women all over the place, and nobody smokes down here. So it was very obvious that I needed to stop. But I missed the essence of smoke and the process, and I was always really intrigued by pipe smoking. I'd actually, back in high school, tried pipe smoking, but back then I really wasn't mature enough to really understand what it was about. That it's about the nuances of the different blends. It's about the entire process. It's about the aesthetic. It differs from person to person, obviously, what it's about, but I was missing the point. I just bought some random tin of stuff from a local tobacconist, when I was old enough, living in the Netherlands as a teenager. You could buy tobacco at 16, so it started kind of early, but I was also still currently smoking cigarettes at the time, so my sense of smell was completely fucked up from smoking so much, and so I wasn't able to appreciate it. And of course, also when I was smoking out of my pipe, some crappy little Payless, I think it was Briar, but still a really crappy Payless pipe nonetheless. All I wanted to do was just produce big plumes of smoke and feel like a badass, puffing on a pipe, and I just burned my mouth, and it was really hot smoke, and didn't know how to pack it, wouldn't stay lit. I was frustrated, and I kind of gave up on it. And then about a year and a half ago, I decided to pick it up again and give it a more mature approach, for an approach that matches my age, and I'm now much more into the subtle nuances and finer, more subtle aspects of things in general in my life. So I decided to go to the local tobacconist and pick up my first pipe. It was a cob, and also a little estate pipe that they had there that was cheap. I thought it was cute. Actually, here, let me grab it real quick. This just goes to show you how well prepared I am right now, of course. But here's my very first pipe. This was my cob. Of course, it was a Missouri Meerschaum. The sticker's gone, but it was decent. And of course, it taught me how to pack a bowl and smoke and not smoke. And then I got this guy too, this little Bjarne. Actually, I thought it was really cool, and it has some cool grain on it. Well, this whole hand thing, does that actually work? I don't know. But the problem is this guy is just a total gurgler. And when I a little bit later on realized that the cake was a little gnarly, I took a reamer to it, and it was very apparent. And you're probably not going to be able to see it at all, but there are definite burn-in marks in there. So this is unfortunately kind of just a pretty pipe I like to have. Maybe if I, smoke it with diligence for a long time, build up a nice little cake in there again, I might be able to smoke it again. But for the most part, yeah, I kind of wrote this guy off. And I stuck with cobs for a really long time. Cobs are great. The problem with this cob is it's forever tainted by aromatic tobacco. That's right. I started with what I thought smelled delicious, and I knew was that apple stuff. That's always what I ever wanted. And the smell of the smoke coming off, it's great. The smell of the tobacco, beautiful. But I had no idea that the actual taste and the flavor and then that was going to be, just one-dimensional, sour, not anywhere close to as good as it smelled. So I quickly moved from that to local tobacconist's random Wales blend, and that was their English blend. It still had, I couldn't tell at the time, but it still had a bit of a top note of some cherry and some other kind of fakey flavors that, I at least at that point, that's when I had my first introduction to Latakia, and I was like, ooh, that's so good. This like perfumey incense stuff that's coming out of this is fantastic, but I didn't really get it until I went and got my first actual tin of tobacco since I've been serious about it, and that was actually randomly a Sam Gowith's Balkan Flake. And that flake, I at that point already done a bunch of, well, not a bunch, but I'd watched some videos on YouTube, got introduced to this community, and was able to figure out kind of more what direction I wanted to go in. And I know that from this kind of crappy aromatic English blend from our local B&M, which, by the way, here in Santa Barbara, California, the pipe tobacco selection is really minimal. There's a bunch of cigar smokers here in town, but generally the pipe smoking culture is dead. It's really, at least in the woodwork, and you got to work hard to get it out. So luckily, y'all showed me the right path, and I always watch some videos, some tobacco reviews, and try to figure out what it was exactly that I was interested in, what direction I wanted to go. But I knew that I loved Latakia from the second I smelled it and could identify what it actually was. So I think the next step from that was getting a Frog Morton's on the Town, which was also a very nice thing. And all of a sudden, it became way more complex. I still swear there's a bit of a top note in there. Every tobacco, generally every single pipe tobacco blend that you get is going to be cased in some way, but that casing doesn't necessarily impart a specific artificial flavor or anything. But still, it was much more refined than anything I'd had before, and the complexity was great. You could taste hints of cedarwood and toast and fantastic stuff. Since I've actually kind of grown apart from the old Frog Morton, but that's kind of where I was. So there's a lot more detail I could go into about my history and my journeys, and I think I might actually do some videos a little bit later on about my foray into the world and really kind of help people take this journey with me into discovering new and more tobaccos. But since I have retired this cob because it's now completely tainted, every time I smoke, there's no way for me to not taste at least some of the remnants of whatever cased tobaccos or top notes that were there before. I just can't get rid of it. So I have a few other pipes, and maybe we'll go through my pipes that I currently smoke and like on a new day. I actually have a brand new pipe that I got recently from eBay for really cheap. It's a wonderful thing. I'll probably do a christening video of that later, but it's a wonderful thing. And I figured it's time for me to step my game up a little bit. I have a couple other cobs that I rotate that are great, but I want some nice briar finally in my life, and luckily I have a little bit of extra funds to spend on this kind of thing. So I invested in this little guy here. Oh fuck it, I'll show it. I'll show you guys this little thing. It's a Luciano bent Dublin. I got this for about half of what it's actually worth new, and it's completely unsmoked. Handmade briar in Italy, and this thing is great. It's small. I like it. I'm a really busy guy. I'm a really generally hyperactive, ADD type guy too, so I don't always have, you know, an hour plus to sit down and smoke a nice big bowl of tobacco. So I was really stoked about getting this little guy because this is going to be perfect for me. I've just been waiting for the right occasion to christen it. So I'll probably have a christening video come up in a little bit, but for now, I'm pumped that I got this one, but I figured I would also get one other pipe, a brand new pipe, to kind of continue my journey into the pipe smoking world. So with that, I will say that I've also actually been sitting on this box for a couple of days. This is going to be, I figured my first video might as well be a YABO too, because those are always exciting. So I actually got this big fucking box with a bunch of stuff in it. What's in it, most importantly to me, is my first actual brand new briar pipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this box up, and we'll check out what's in there. There's a bunch of random stuff. It's not all pipe smoking related either.